Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where, oh goodness, I've just noticed that this only just fits on the screen today. This puzzle, it's called Japanese Sum Whisper Loop. It's by yttrio, and I can't really make this much larger because I have, this template that I use each day for creating the videos. So this one's gone right to the edge. Apparently it is brilliant as well. Yttrio has sort of cornered the market in incredibly elegant loop-based Sudoku puzzles. And apparently this is another one, very minimalistic as well today. We've got to draw some sort of German whispers loop in the grid. And these are Japanese sum clues. If you've never seen Japanese sum Sudoku, or even Japanese sum logic puzzles before, it's very similar to nonograms, if you've ever seen those in your newspapers. I think they're called something. Are they called paint? They're called something else. Is it pie cross? Is that how they're also known? It might be, but it's very, very similar to that anyway. And I'm looking forward to having a go at this. As I say, it's been recommended to us a few times because apparently it's magnificent. Now, what else can I tell you about today before we kick off? I've not got much news. I've got some birthdays to do. I will mention briefly, we're streaming again on Monday night, 10 p.m. UK time. Of course, we're going back to the Blueprints Mansion. And also over on Patreon on the 1st of December, which is coming up very soon, we have got a brand new competition commencing. That is in the right place today. And that's the Wind in the Willows, as you can see. So if you want to help Mole to find and explore his advent calendar, then definitely take part in this. It is a very, very nice collection of puzzles, 13 in all this time, and I think you'll enjoy them. There's some fog of war in there, all sorts of things. Anyway, what else can I tell you about? Look, let's do the birthdays. Let me look at my list. Karen, it's your birthday today, over there in Illinois. I know it's your birthday because your husband Brendan wrote to me to tell me it's your secret age. You turned the secret age again, but I think it's only for the second time. So that I mean, some people turn the secret age a lot of times. Let me tell you. But Karen, I think this is only your second visit to the secret age, and I hope that the chocolate cake is excellent. I think you're going to a local restaurant today. That's what Brendan implied. I hope I haven't spoiled anything. Probably oh no, I could have done by the time this video goes live. You're behind us, aren't you? Anyway, Karen, I hope it's a great birthday, obviously, and the cake is good. Next, Manuela. Manuela, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your partner Fabrizio wrote in and asked if I could wish you a happy birthday. Manuela, I think we've corresponded before. I think I remember you sent us a very kind email, if I'm not mistaken, a year or two back. I hope life is good for you, and I hope today is full of incredibly well-iced chocolate cake. Next, Mark. Mark, your partner Lou wrote in, not because it's your birthday. I think it's the two of you, your anniversary today. Maybe your second anniversary. I might have got that wrong as well. I am, I'm not impervious to errors in such things. The two of you I know are over in France. And anyway, I hope if it is an anniversary, I hope you get to celebrate. And probably a nice meal with some chocolate cake for dessert. Oh, now Rowena. It's Rowena's birthday today. And Rowena, I know it's your birthday because we met in Stratford-upon-Avon. And Rowena was kind enough to record a video message from my sister, which I did share with her. Rowena's message was along the lines of, I wasn't nearly as boring as my sister has always claimed I was. My sister unfortunately dismissed your message, Rowena, as clearly not true. We did our best. And then finally, anyway, Rowena, happy birthday, obviously. And then finally, Emma. Emma, it's not your birthday, but you sent me a very kind email claiming that these videos had somehow helped you to improve your maths, which I have a lot of difficulty believing, given that you're about to hand in your maths dissertation in January. I wish you the very best with that. Thank you for taking the time to write in. I really, Messages like that warm the cockles of my heart. And as I say, I wish you the best with what's to come. And that's all the news. Let's have a look at Japanese sum whisper loop. I love the way yttrio is like that. What is it? Ronseal, quick drying wood stain. It does exactly what it says on the tin. That's what yttrio's puzzles are like. Yttrio never calls them anything terribly elaborate. It just labels them with what they are, which is a Japanese sum whisper loop. And the rules are as follows. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply, so we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Then we've got to draw a 1-cell wide loop of orthogonally connected cells. Orthogonally connected means sharing an edge with one another. So we couldn't draw a loop that looked like this, although it would look very pretty. These cells are not orthogonally connected. They only touch one another at a vertex, and that's not sufficient for orthogonal connection. So we have to draw a 1-cell wide loop. So we could draw a Fistermafel ring, for example. The loop may not touch itself, not even diagonally. Right, so that's going to mean we can't have a loop that looks like this, because this loop, although it is loop flavored now, those two cells touch one another diagonally, and therefore that loop is also not allowed. The loop acts as a German whispers line, i.e. adjacent digits. Let's slightly adjust our loop. So let's imagine this was the loop. Adjacent digits on the loop must have a difference of at least 5. So if this digit is a 1, both of these digits would have to be at least equal to 6 in order to be sufficiently different from the digit 1. They can be different from one another, obviously, so we could have 6 and 7. That would, I think, be a legitimate way of the loop working. Now let's get rid of the loop now, because now we have to do the Japanese sum clues. So Japanese sums. Clues outside the grid give the sums of loop segments in the respective row or column in order, where cells not on the loop separate segments. A question mark indicates any digit from 0 to 9, but no clue may have a leading 0. So this double question mark here couldn't be 0, 5, for example. That would not work. An asterisk denotes any arbitrary number of Japanese sum clues. This could be 0, 1, or multiple. Yeah, now this is the trickiest part about the sort of Japanese sum nomenclature. So this star clue here, that could mean there's a 2-cell segment, a 1-cell segment, another 2-cell segment. No, actually that wouldn't work. All happening before this double question mark clue at the end. So let's say the double question mark clue was that. Then this star clue, it could mean nothing. It could mean there are no segments before this double question mark clue. But it could mean there's lots of segments. You basically, a star clue means anything. You just don't know. I think that's all the rules. Is that all the rules? I think it is. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, I think we're going to have to investigate fully, before we even start this puzzle, the secrets of German whispers. And let's start. Let's imagine that this was our loop, just so that we can think about this. There are some secrets that are incredibly important in German whispers generally, and then therefore I imagine they're going to be important to solve this puzzle. The first and most basic secret about German whispers lines is that you cannot put 5 on them at all. And that's because if you do put 5 on them, the next digit is impossible to place, because it has to be at least 5 different to the digit 5, and if you go upwards, you get to 10 or higher, and you can't write those in Sudoku. And if you go downwards, you get to 0 or lower, and you can't write those into Sudokus either. So no 5s. That means that every single digit you put on the loop either has the quality of being below 5 or above 5. Why does that matter? Well, what you have to realise is that you can't put two of the same type next to each other. So if this was below 5, this and this can't also be below 5. And that's because if you think about how far apart these two digits would be, they wouldn't be sufficiently far apart. So what happens along these German whispers lines is you get this oscillation of polarity. You have to, once you can establish what any single cell on this loop is, you can propagate that all the way along the loop. So that is what I'm going to hope to do, and they are the secret. So we can immediately look at the given 5, and we're going to have to, well, what should we have for off the loop today? Actually, maybe I'll use, I think the most colourblind friendly colours in my palette are blue and orange. So I'll use blue for off the loop, and I'll use orange for on the loop. So do we go in there? If we do go in there, no, we don't go in there. Right. Okay, so one thing I know, because I've done a lot of loop puzzles before, if the loop can't touch itself, when the loop turns, the loop, it's not like a London taxi that can turn on a sixpence. It's more like a London bus. It really takes a lot of time to turn. What do I mean by that? Well, imagine the loop's going along here and it's going to hit this corner cell. The loop will hit the corner and turn. And the crucial thing to realise is it can't then turn immediately out again because the loop will touch itself. So it has to do a wide turn. It's got to go to here and then it could turn. That's fine. But you always have this sort of wide turn effect where a loop cannot touch itself and where the loop is one cell wide. So we know that if the loop does go into this cell, it's going to have to sort of take a U pentomino of digits. And that's not going to work because of this row 2 Japanese sums clue, where we're being told that the final loop segment in this row, which would be this one in this example, adds to a double-digit number. Well, because the loop can't come in this direction because the loop would touch itself, this is a one cell wide segment, and even if I fill it with 9, that's not sufficient for a double-digit clue. So actually, we can this cell simply cannot be on the loop, and therefore none of these cells can be on the loop, because again we'd have too tight a turn for our London bus. Now, so that works again actually. Now we can look at this cell and ask if this could be a turn of the loop. If the loop goes into this corner, it will have to do a wide turn like this, and this cell's again a problem because this is meant to be a double-digit total and would only be a single-digit total. So we definitely don't go into that cell. Now let's try that again. What about that? That doesn't work. That doesn't work, but for a different clue reason. That doesn't work for column 7. In column 7, we've got a double-digit segment here, but we've only got a single-digit segment by sort of loop logic, so that's not on the loop. Okay, we're going to keep doing this. So, actually, okay, so this is where you have to be a bit more careful, because that is forced, but that isn't. There's no need for the loop to go to sort of row 4, column 7, because it could go there, couldn't it? And the loop wouldn't have touched itself. So if it does go into row 2, column 7, less is forced than it has been so far. Star clues. Star clues, you just have to ignore them. They are so utterly useless and actually misleading. I can't see the problem with this one. Okay. It looks like row 2 is getting very full to me, because I've got to have 3 different segments in row 2, one of which is not a 1-cell segment, because the double digit clue here, the question mark clue, the minimum that can be is a segment of size 10, which could be a 2-cell segment. But oh yeah, you could do it. I was going to say you can't do a 2-cell segment. That's not true. You could do that, couldn't you? If you could do that, that would be okay. So I'm not sure. I think you can go into this corner. You almost have to. Maybe that's what we can prove. If you go into the corner, if this is on the loop, that is forced. And then in order to have 2 1-cell segments before this segment, you'd have to have those there, wouldn't you? That is... So if row 2 column 7 is on the loop, row 2 is completely specified vis-a-vis loop. Now what happens then if this is not on the loop? Then I must... Well, I couldn't do any better than have 2 1-cell segments there. And then this would be a corner of the loop. In order, because we would need a 2-cell segment. Okay, so what we can... This is good. This is fine. So what we can say by considering row 2 is that we do not know about this cell. This cell might be on the loop, or it might not be on the loop. But whether or not it's on the loop, these 2 cells are definitely on the loop, and these 2 cells are the single cell segments referred to by the question marks in row 2. There's no other way of doing it. I mean, well, let me just deal with that. I mean, well, there just isn't. If we try and make all 3 of these not on the loop, there's no way we can fill in 3 different segments in what's left. It's not going to work, is it? So we're either dealing with a loop that does this, or we're dealing with a loop that does that. But either way round, all of those are definitely loop segments. Now, and these first 2 are single cell loop segments, in order to just fit in. And this is a loop, so the loop has to travel through like little lanes, and then it's gone in the corner, so it's got to get out of the corner, and now this cell cannot be on the loop because the loop would have touched itself, wouldn't it? So this cell can't be on the loop, or the loop would have not be a loop at all, it would be a cul-de-sac. This cell can't be on the loop because then we'd have a loop there and something else here that would be a second loop, and that won't work. So we can extend our loop there. This is a corner of the loop now, so that's got to get out. The loop can't loop round and touch itself because it's not a London taxi. So this is another corner. Sorry, this is all fairly clear, isn't it? That can't be on the loop now because the loop would have closed. Now this can't be on the loop because again the loop would be touching itself and it would have to close then, and we'd get 2 loops again, so that's not on the loop. So this is on the loop. It's amazing what you can do with, because actually if you think about what yttrio's achieved here, we've got all of this, and we might be able to get more, but we've got all of this from just a row 2 clue and a column 7 clue, a given 5. Maybe I did use this row 3 clue actually to rule out one of those options for a loop that turned there. So okay, so maybe it is a little bit more, but it's still pretty amazing that you can get that much out of so few clues. Now let's think about this. So we've got a double clue here which could be fulfilled by this if this then turned. Oh, no. Right, look at the row 3 clue. We've got a 2-digit clue. Well, this is part of that 2-digit clue. Because imagine it wasn't, and we were going to claim there was another orange segment to the right of this clue. Well, the only way we could do that is if this was orange, and that's impossible, because that's a cul-de-sac, and we're trying to build a loop. So this is the final segment. It can't be a single cell, therefore, because it adds up to a double-digit number, so we have to turn it. Now we don't know. We don't know, do we? Because that could be a 2-cell segment. In fact, imagine that was a... If this question mark at the top... Oh, but it's a German whisper. Hang on. Hang on. There's something I haven't thought through at all here, which I probably should have done. Okay, I was about to say, if this was a 9, this question mark, then it could be a 3-cell segment. Because I was just applying normal Sudoku rules, and I was thinking, oh, a 3-cell segment... it could in the limit be 1, 2, 3, couldn't it? And only add up to 6. But this loop, the loop is meant to function as a whispers line. So I should take my own advice and oscillate its polarity. Which means that in any 3-cell segment like that, you've got to have at least one high digit, one digit that's higher than 6. Sorry, higher than 5. Now, in fact, let's think about that a bit more. I mean, obviously, for this to be a single-digit clue, you can't put, these can't be the high digits. That's not going to work. So this has got to be the high digit. But this doesn't work. You can't have a 3-cell segment for a 1-digit clue in this puzzle. And the reason is a bit complicated, but let's go through it. We'd have to have the high digit here in the 3-cell segment. We can't make this a 6 because 6 only has one partner from a German whispers perspective. There is only one Sudoku digit that is 5 or more different from 6, and that's the digit 1, and Sudoku will break if we put 6 here. So we could put 7, that would work, only with a 1 and a 2, but 1 plus 7 plus 2 is 10, and that would be a double-digit clue. So actually, if this did turn to here, it would then stop. It would be a 2-cell segment and no larger. Sorry, I'm not really seeing what to do now. I mean, I can see there's a checkerboard thing going on. Is that going to be... Actually, that probably is worth just mentioning. Okay. So what we said at the start was that the German whispers loop is going to oscillate its polarity. Now, because this is an orthogonally moving loop, imagine the entire grid was checkerboarded. So imagine it was like a chessboard. All of these cells would be, would be one colour, wouldn't they? And sort of, so if they were, I don't know, if they were black, then all of the white cells in between would be something else. Now the crucial thing to realise is, therefore, polarity will always be preserved on one colour of the checkerboard. So what we can see, let's look at this cell. Let's give that a quick green flash. Because we know that we get oscillation, we could immediately green flash all these cells. In fact, we've now got 4 of those in box 1, which is probably also interesting. But that's not the point I want to make. So the point I want to make is that I can extend this shading. So let's imagine this was 1, 2, 3, or 4. Then we know that all of these are 1, 2, 3, 4, because we have to oscillate. The point is you can extend that to this segment, because however we arrive at this point, we will have taken an even number of steps to get there, because this is on the same colour of the checkerboard as this one. So imagine you're trying to get to this cell. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we get to it a different way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're always going to end up taking an even number of steps to get to this cell. So this is always going to be the same polarity as this one. We don't know this is on the loop, but if it is on the loop, it will have this polarity. And this is on the loop, and it's on the same colour of the checkerboard as this, so this does have this. The problem here is I don't know whether this is low or high, but that's definitely green polarity. These are all green polarities. We should have another colour for the other polarity. Should we have... I was trying to do this so that I would have nice colours that would help with colour blindness, and I've realised I've made something quite revolting. Like, can I get rid of maybe the purple is the most revolting thing there. Let's go for... Oh, I don't know. Is that better? I'm not sure it is. I'll go with indigo and green as my checkerboarding colours. Right. Yeah, okay. I mean, this must be doing something, because yeah, look at box 1. I've got 4 green cells there. So imagine green was the low side of the polarity. Then this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple. If green is high, these are 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, that's really interesting. No jokes. No jokes. Rowena met me and said it wasn't nearly as bad as she'd expected. So what we have to think about the difficult digits. So in the 1, 2, 3, 4 coterie of digits, it's the 4 that's tricky to place, because the 4 can only go next to a 9. It's the only Sudoku digit that's sufficiently different from the digit 4. If it's 6, 7, 8, 9 in green, it's the 6 that's difficult, because it can only go next to a 1. Now look at these cells. This one sees those two, so that couldn't be a 6 or a 4, because that would cause double 1 or double 9. If this was 4 or 6, double 1 or double 9. If this was 4 or 6, double 1, double 9. So this is 4 or 6, and this is 1 or 9. And I tell you what's good about this. This is brilliant, yttrio, because now I know how the loop moves. The loop can't go here anymore. Because if it did, if this is 4, that would be 9, and that would be 9. If this is 6, this would be 1, and this would be 1. So the loop must turn. And we got that purely by considering sort of checkerboarding logic, or, well, not really, but it was still good. It was still useful. Now, I'm wondering whether we're meant to look... Yeah, this is lovely. It's lovely. Look at row 3. Now, at the moment, we've had our four green digits, haven't we? We've had them all. So what would happen if the loop went here? Well, from checkerboarding logic, we know this is a green digit, but there are none left. We've used all 4 of them already in row 3, so we can't have another one. So that's got to be blue, and the loop must turn. Yeah, I'm just checking that I'm happy with that. I think that's definitely correct. Now the loop can't touch itself here. We don't have a clue for row 4, so I can't. So not only do I not have a clue, just generally I can't actually use any clues because there are none given. Oh well, yeah, but okay, but no, I can use the thing we were talking about earlier about column 8. If this was on the loop, that string would add up to at least 10. That won't work, so we have to turn. So we've now got a little passageway coming down column 9. This can't be on the loop because the loop would touch this cell. So we can green that one and double indigo these two. And now can't put 9 in that domino because the low digit that accompanied it would take us up to at least 10. Oh, okay, but look, I've got this clue in row 6, which is so comprehensive it almost doesn't fit on the screen. So we've got to have at least 2 digits for the first segment, and then we've got 3 more. Nearly. We've got 3 more, but we don't know. You could have a 2. I think you could have a 2-cell segment here, providing these didn't add up to 10 or 11 or 12 or something. Then you could have that, that, and that, and that would be okay. These cells can't be on the loop because the loops would be touching itself. That can't be on the loop because the loop would touch that one. Okay, so what we should do, I suspect, is try to think through. This digit is a 1 or a 9 because these 2 digits are actually the same, aren't they? Well, I don't really need to label that because I know that these are the extreme digit within the blue profile. So if blue was low, these are both 1s. If blue is high, those are both 9s. Oh, yes. Yeah, okay. Yes, let's switch. Switch from looking at green to looking at indigo. Now, in this sequence of digits, we've got to put the indigo equivalent of 4 and 6. We've got the green 4 or 6 placed here. I need to make one of these cells indigo 4 or 6, remembering that it will have the same digit on both sides of it on the loop. Well, which one can we do? If this was 4, 6, these would both be the same digit. If this was 4, 6, these would both be the same digit. So it's got to be that one. So these are a 1, 9 green pair. Yeah, okay. And now look at the double question mark clue at the start of the top clue at the, I can't click on it, but this one where my cursor's moving. If this was 6, this would be 1, adding up to 7, and 7 is not a double-digit number. So we've got to do 4, and that's 9, and 13 is a double-digit number, so that's fine. So this is now 9 as well. This is now 1, so this is 1, this is 6. And okay, and now we've got the polarity of the loop. we've figured it out. So now we can look at all of the indigo cells, and they are all low digits. So they're 1, 2, 3, or 4. And all of the green digits are all high digits, so 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we can do some Sudoku. These two are not 6 or 9. These are not 6. These are not 1. Oh, neither of those can be 4. They'll 4 again. It's got the same thing on both sides, so that won't work. This can't be 4 because it would cause double 9. This can't be 1 or 4. 4 would again cause double 9. Now, that can't be 1 or 4 by Sudoku, of all things. This can't be 6, therefore, because 6 would only be next to 1. That can't be 4. It would cause double 9. That one actually can't be 4, because if the loop goes here or here, this cell sees those two cells, doesn't it? So if this was 4, it would see a 9 in one of those positions and break Sudoku. So that is not a 4. Oh, good. Oh, I thought I'd broken it. Wow. Wow. Okay, this segment is totally at the limit. How on earth do you keep that down to being a single digit total? It has to be a 2 here and it has to be a 7 here. Just saving ourselves from getting to 2 digits. So 2, 7. So this isn't 7. Actually, this isn't 6 because that would cause double 1. I can place 4 by Sudoku in box 1, just using the 4 that we've got there. That's got to be 5. Remember, we can't. That's got to be 5. We can't put 5 ever. 5 is always going to live in the blue areas of this grid. Well, not the indigo areas. You know what I mean. No, that doesn't work. I was about to say, where's 4? I mean, it is in one of those 2 cells of box 2. What's that digit? Yeah, that digit's just a gimme. That's a 3 in the row. So this digit's a 2. So this digit's a 3. This digit's a 2. This is not a 3. 3 on a German whisper is not quite as bad as 4, but it's still pretty restricted. You certainly can't put it next to 7, because 3 and 7 are only 4 apart. So that's going to have to be 8. And therefore that's going to have to be 9. And that's going to have to be 7. We've got box 1 completely sorted out, which is a very nice occurrence. What about row 2? We need 6, 7, 8. Is that done somehow? I can't see if we can do that actually. 6, 7, 8. I've got a feeling I've chosen the most dreadful colours ever. I'm so sorry if people are suffering with seeing the digits. I did try, and then I think when I polarity shaded, I've really messed it up. Okay, so which clues have we not used yet in terms of the... I've used row 2. Row 2 is finished. I've used row 3. I mean, row 3 is finished, so this clue is fine. I haven't used column 6, but I've got a star. I mean, actually, the question mark doesn't refer to this segment, because the question mark is the lowest segment, wherever that is in the column. And that can't be the lowest segment, because we need to connect these 2 loop segments together. So there is going to be a crossing, at least one crossing, probably only one crossing of the river that is column 6. There's got to be at least a 2-digit clue in column 7 for the double question mark. Yeah, and the star clue is not going to help us here. So it's probably this row is where we're going to have to think through what's going on next. That's presuming... Oh, that can't... This is a gimme. That can't be 6. Because it would have a 1 here and a 1 in one of those cells. So this is 7. Yeah, I was going to say, that's presuming I've done all my Sudoku. So in this box now, one of these cells is a 1 or a 2. To be next to 7 on the whisper. And so there's a sort of pair, a floating pair between those 3 cells will contain the 1 and the 2 in box 4. Oh, that's a 7 by Sudoku. So this is not a 7. What are these digits? Are they 4, 6, 8? Okay. Oh dear. What? Ah, you can't put 3 next to 7 on the whisper. They're only 4 apart. I've now got a 1-2 pair in row 4. No, okay. I can't see what to do. It probably is this row. It's actually, I tell you something that's very, very strange about this puzzle, and that is that the bottom 3 rows have no clues at all. because that almost feels impossible. I mean, I know that there's a clue that segment there and a segment there, but the fact that that can specify exactly how a loop is going to flow and how all of the digits then get resolved in the bottom 3 rows is actually pretty miraculous. Anyway, come on. I've got to somehow figure out what's going on in this row. So how do we do that? Well, what's the minimum these 3 cells could, if they were each 1 cell wide? That doesn't. Okay, so well, that's actually really weird. That's it. That's in fact it. that is really, really weird. But look at row 6. And just consider, how are we going to construct the 3 single question mark clues? Now, in theory, they could be a 1 cell, they could be something like that, couldn't they? That would be perfect. We could do that. This is a 1 cell wide clue, and we're home and hosed. But that doesn't actually work in column 7. Because even if this is on the loop, which it could be, I can't just ascend through this column because I'm going to bump into this blue square. So if this is on the loop, I'd have to turn and take 2 cells. So one way of saying this might be the first or the right hand 2 question marks, this question mark here and this question mark here, must, the minimum distance, if you like, that they're going to involve in terms of columns, yes, that's possible, this is possible, and this is possible. It's not possible, though, to confine them to the final 3 columns only. Because if you do take that one as part of this question mark here, it will cause a turn and therefore dribble out, if you like, into column 6. So the right hand 2 single question mark clues are in the absolute best case, if we're as efficient in terms of packing them on the right side of the grid as we possibly can be, they will still spill out as far as column 6. And then there has to be a gap. So let's put a gap there. And then there has to be another, at least a single cell, corresponding to this clue where the cursor's moving there. Let's put that there. And then let's have a gap. But I still need a 2 cell segment to deal with the double question mark. Well, that has to be there. It's absolutely, there's no other way to do it. So you have to do that. You have to do a single cell segment there. You have to cut that off. And I think this cell has to be on the loop. I don't see how it can't be. In fact, that's totally true. If it's not, how do you put 2 segments into this? You can't. They would become the same segment. So that's definitely loop. I don't know about this one. I think this is the ambiguity, because I could go straight up there, or I could make this one have a horizontal segment and it would still work. Or indeed, this could come out to there and turn. I think that works as well. But now this can't be on the loop, or the loop would touch itself. This can't be on the loop, or the loop would touch itself. That is definitely a segment, so we've got to come across here. This is a turn, so this is off the loop. And therefore, okay, this might be where we get stuck. Let's think this through then. Okay, well, let's do our polarity shading. So we can do all of those in green and all of these in indigo. Now, have we got any what I'm looking for is rows or columns that have four digits in them now. I don't think we've got that. Might be wrong, but this has got to be a 1 or a 2. because it's got to be next to a 7. So I have got a 1-2 pair in column 1, which means I know what these digits are 4, 5 and 6 to complete that column. And let's fully pencil mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now that's not 7. Actually, this isn't 6 because of the double question mark clue. That wouldn't work with making this sufficiently high, would it? So this is 8 or 9. That can't be 6, it would be surrounded by double 1. That can't be 4, it would be surrounded by double 9. That can't be 6 for the same reason. That can't be 4 for the same reason. It can't be 3 by Sudoku. I've been neglecting Sudoku in everything I've been doing. Oh, neither of these can be 1. Right, let's do Sudoku. No, that can't be 2 or 4. I'm so sorry. I've just been totally ignoring Sudoku. There's a 6 in one of these 2 squares. What about that one? That can't be 9 by Sudoku. Whoops. Let's do it that way. And oh goodness, I don't know. No, I was about to say if this turned, it might get too big. If this was 8, for example, and this was 3, that would be too big, wouldn't it, for a single question mark clue? So hang on, so how do I do this then? This can't be on the loop, or this part of the loop would touch itself, so that's definitely blue. This has got to be a double-digit clue, but it could always be if this is a 9. That would simply work, wouldn't it? Oh dear, I don't know what to do now. What do we think? I have not got a Scooby-Doo. How do we do this? Is this obvious? I can hear a chorus of people in my future saying, "Yes, Simon, you're being an absolute Nelly." I don't mean to be. What have I missed here? How do we make progress? I'm not sure. I still got a double question mark clue to deal with in this column, so there's still got to be quite some segment down here. And still I ask the question, how does the bottom of this ever get resolved? It doesn't seem possible. Is this question mark clue? Oh, wait. Okay, that's very clever. This is a very important clue. This question mark at the bottom of column 6 is Japanese sum. I think because here's the question I want to ask. Does that apply to this segment? Is this the lowest segment on the loop in column 6? And I think it might be, you know, because let's imagine it wasn't. If it isn't, so we can't perform a turn in a 2-cell segment, and what that's going to mean is that the bottom segment here is going to be a stripe of some sort. I mean, it could be a wiggly stripe, but it is a stripe, and we will end up with 3 loop segments in this portion of the grid. 3 loop ends, 1, 2, and the thing coming in from this side of the grid. And we can't have 3 loop ends confined to one cul-de-sac portion of the grid, because you can't make a loop out of that. You've got to join 2 loop ends together to make a loop, not an odd number of loop ends. And that's crucial, I think, because now we can use the logic that we were looking at in this column. And now we've established, I think we have, that this is the bottom. This is what this question mark clue relates to. Can we extend this? No, because we looked at this. The minimum sum of such a segment is 10, and 10 is bigger than a single digit total. So in fact, this turns the loop. Now, and we know that this can't be 2/8. That's the only thing that is stopped by the single digit total. We know there are no more loop thingies in column 6, so there's no more loop thingies in column 5 because we're not a London taxi. Oh, right. This is a double digit clue, so I've got to go down. I don't know how far I'm going down, but I'm going down at least to here. So this is off the loop. The loop's got to come to there, therefore. So I've got 2 more high digits on the loop here, and another low digit on the loop there. I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in box 6. And that's probably important for some reason. I don't know what that reason is, I'm afraid. Oh dear. Okay. Wow, I don't know what to do. Well, okay, although, yeah, this is another weird point. It doesn't feel right when I'm about to say it, but I think logically it's true. Where are 1 and 2 in box 5? I've got a 1, 2 pair here, so they're not in those cells. And they can't go here because in row 6 I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple, so this certainly can't be a 1 or a 2. So I think those are a 1, 2 pair, and this one doesn't seem to be. Oh, that one can't be 1, it just can't be. So that's a 2 and that's a 1. And that is, okay, that means that isn't 2. So now this is 3 or 4, which means this can't be 7. Right, and now I've got an 8, 9 pair. That's still not good enough. This is 6 or 7 now, which we know can't be next to 3 because they wouldn't be sufficiently far apart. Right, so I've now got an actual 1, 2 pair in box 6, and that's become a 3, which means this digit is not 6 or 7. It's very intricate, isn't it? In the sort of most magical way. I thought I could do some Sudoku, but no, that fair-weathered friend hasn't helped me. 3 is in one of 2 places in box 4. That digit can't be a 9 because of the given 9. No better reason than that. Okay. So, what on earth do we do now? I suppose this can't be a 6, actually. Because if it was a 6, this would be a 1. And we couldn't extend the loop to here. Because the 1 would see the 1 that would inevitably follow the 6 on the loop. So the loop would turn, and that segment would be of size 7, which isn't big enough. So this is 7 or 8. Which is probably okay. Wow. So where is the... I mean, look, again, I've still got virtually nothing in the bottom 3 rows. Is it? I don't know what to do. That's bizarre. Oh, no. Okay, Sudoku. I shouldn't rely on Sudoku in these Sudoku puzzles. Where's 7 in box 5? I think it's there. That might not actually be useful though, unfortunately. 7. I've got a lot of 7s in the... Yeah, that's good. Where's 7 in row 7? Yeah, I mean, that's actually, that might have been available for ages, but I mean, how I was meant to see that, I don't know. I mean, the way I did see it is I could see that 7 in column 2 was low down. I could see 7 in column 4 was low down. And when in my mind I get that sort of pattern, I know I should be asking where the 7 is in row 7 now, because it can't go here and it can't go here. And that 7 seems to stop it being there. So that is a 7. But I don't think that's going to be enough, is it, for me to know what's going on with the loop? Well, no, no, it is. That's crucial. Yeah, because now the loop can't turn, because this segment won't add up to a double-digit number. This is brilliant. Yttrio, this is brilliant. So we have to continue. That's indigo. So this is a 1 or a 2 because it's got to be next to 7. And I suppose I'm... Okay, so this has to go down as well. So that's therefore... well, that's not a 4, actually. Because if this was 4 again, this will be a 9, and wherever the loop goes next will be a 9. So now I've got a 1-2 pair here. Oh, this is right. That's beautiful. That is an absolutely beautiful point. That might be my favourite point in an already beautiful puzzle. Okay, I now know how the loop closes in box 9. Because it could close with alacrity. That's clearly possible. It just if this is on the loop. The only other way it closes is to become a London bus and to go into this cell, in which case it has to do the wide turn thing. What's this digit in that wide turn? By checkerboarding, it's low, isn't it? And it's not 1 or 2, and it can't be 4 because 4 is monogamous and would only partner up with 9. So it is the digit 3. But what are these two digits then? They have to be an 8-9 pair, because 3 can only go next to 8s and 9s, and this cell couldn't exist in the world. It won't work. So we have to close with alacrity, and that's a green then. And this can't be a 6 because that would be surrounded by double 1. So this is this is now an 8-9 pair, and we can bluify all of these. This is weird. It's weird. I don't have any clues in these columns, or any clues in these rows, and apparently this all fixes itself. It's close to magic, isn't it? They add up to 10. That's fine. But it's still weird. I mean, is it? Oh, I see. Yeah, it's more Sudoku is what it is. 7 is placed in... That's probably been available forever. Actually, that doesn't really do anything. Let's double click 7s. Maybe... No, I can't. I'm not going to be able to resolve these. I just can't do it. If that was 4... You see, if that was 4, it will cause the loop to close. So I bet that's what happens. I bet this is a 4, and the loop's going to go 9, 9, and then that could be 1 or 3. But also, that if that's 9, it would resolve this as well, wouldn't it? So, how am I going to prove this? The answer is I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I think there'll be some reason. I just have to figure out what it is. Is it going to be... I've got a 1-2 pair here. Is that somehow relevant? 1 is in one of 2 places in box 8. It's probably I've probably got to do a lot of Sudoku. That probably is important in some way or another. But quite where that Sudoku starts from, I'm not sure. I've got the 4, 5, 6 there. I've got, so the 4 is in one of those 3. Is it 5 actually? I've not really paid attention to 5s for a while. Can I locate more of those in the grid, given they have to be in the actual blue cells, these cells? It doesn't look very appetizing, does it, to think about that? These are 3, 4, 5, 6. Golly, no, I don't know. Where? what am I meant to do? Is it some other clue that I've not figured out? That has to add up to a double-digit number. But again, I don't think I know how that works. Do I know whether this can go to here for some reason? If it does go down to here, this is a 3, isn't it? And this would be an 8 or a 9. And then, well then, could that even be a 4 if that was double 9? Perhaps. Golly, have I just missed a clue here? Is there some clue that I'm meant to focus on that I just don't know? I feel like that's the case. I definitely feel like I've missed something obvious here. 2 is in one of these cells. 1 is in one of those 2 cells. We've got this 1, 2 pair here, which looks like it's trying to be friendly towards us. 2 is in one of these cells by Sudoku. If forced, we'll do Sudoku. We'll see if that gets us anywhere. Let's try. 3 is nearly very restricted. Well, it is a bit restricted in column 7. Only got 2 possible positions. They do add up to 10. There's no sort of uniqueness point, is there, where I can't repeat a clue? I don't think there's that. It would be typical of me to forget a rule. It's really... Where else is it? So I've got an 11 here, that's fine. I've got lots there, that's a 15. These are fine. This we used, that's fine. No, so it's some sort of whispers trick, I think. Yeah, I think it must relate to how this closes. But it's one thing to say that, and quite another to know exactly where to look. Do I know if that was 8, that would be 8? Is that a bad thing? That would be 8? Or what about this column? What do we need in that column? Is it 4 and 6? Oh, that's quite interesting. Yeah, look at column 9. I've got a 4 looking at this cell, so that's got to be a 6. That's weird. That's actually doing work from a Sudoku perspective, because that 6 is giving me an 8 here, which is jolly exciting. So I now get a 4, 8 here. Yeah, it's still doing a little bit of work here, because this is a 1, 3 pair, I think. And I've got a 1, 2 pair here, so that's a 1. And that's a 3. Now, does it go further than that? That's the question. So 3 is now in one of those 2 cells. And in this column, we need 5, 6, 8. Yeah, that's really useful. Wow. The reason that's useful, believe it or not, is this cell down here. Now that can't be 8 because there's an 8, 9 pair living in this box already. And why do I care about that? Well, that means there's an 8 in this domino, and that means that is a 9. And that means that's 8, that's 9, that's 8. That's huge. That's going to do that one, but we'll come back to that in a moment. That's 8, that's 9. That, oh good grief, this is it's unbelievable. Wow. 4 is in one of those two cells now. 9 is in the same cells I've got a 1 in. So this is a 1, 9 pair. I've got 3, 5 and 6 to place in column 5 now. What can we get rid of there? Oh, we can get rid of 3 from that one. That's definitely true. What about that one? Not sure. Okay, but that's still way better. Oh, 8 here means this is 8. Sorry, that's probably been available for ages. These squares are 4, 5, 6 triple. Now, can we do something with that? This row needs 4, 5 and 6 as well, so that's not 6 in this cell. Now, okay, let's go back to this 8, because remember this segment had to add up to a double-digit number. The only way that works now is if this is a 2. Can you imagine how much care it's taken to put this together? I mean, it's just incredible. That 8 doesn't stop this being a 3. It could absolutely be a 3. And that 9 doesn't stop this being a 4, which is a bit distressing. So there must be some trick we're going to have to employ. I don't know what that is yet. Yeah, okay, I do actually. Look at this segment and let's consider whether it can go down. Now, if it goes down to this cell, what happens? This cell has to be, it actually has to be a 7. Because it can't be a 6 because it will be surrounded by double 1 on the loop. It can't be an 8 or a 9 by Sudoku. So this would be a 7 on the loop. And a 7 on the loop will be surrounded by the digits 1 and 2. But the 2 is nowhere, the 2 is in one of these two cells in the box. It's not orthogonally adjacent to the 7. So you can't put 7 on the loop there. It's impossible. So you have to turn. It's that simple. I say simple in inverted commas. I mean, that's not that simple. But now this can't be 2 because because this is a high digit. So that's 2. That's 2. The loop's finished. So what we could do is this. And now I'm not going to feel too guilty about doing that, because I'm hoping that will help anybody who's been struggling, as I seem to have been, with the colouring. Now, this digit is now a 9. It's a high digit and it sees all the others, so that's 9. So this is 1, this is 9. That's now 3, that's 4. That's 4 apparently using Sudoku. This is a 3. This is a 4. Again, my pencil marks are doing some small modicum of good there. Okay, has that done it? What do we need in this column? We need 8 and we need 5. So that's going to have to be the 5 because we've already got the 8 there. So that's 8. That's 8 by Sudoku. This column hasn't had a... No, I was going to say hasn't had a 2. I didn't get my scanning as far. I think it's 6 it's missing. So we can get rid of 6 from here, 6 from here. What does that mean? That's not 4, obviously. So this square, this is a 3, and this is a 5 or a 6, which means this is a 4. What about those two digits? 9. I've not put 9 into box. That's got to be 9. That's got to be 6. So that's 6. That's 5. That's 5. That's 6. That's 6. And this is also sees this 4 in the corner. That 6 up there in the corner was absolutely critical. Now in the bottom row I need 1 and 7, so we can actually do that. And is it all resolved now? I'm hoping it. No, that's a 5. Yeah, it probably is. So this is 5 by Sudoku. That's 3. That's 6. That's 5. And that's something 3. That is a spectacular puzzle. It's miraculous, frankly. It really is. That number of clues. And don't forget, all these clues, they aren't giving us specific numbers. They're just basically giving us the number of digit in the segment. And that's enough. I mean, if I haven't made an error, no, it's correct. Absolutely incredible. Incredible yttrio. Loved it. And I'm baffled by it. I don't know how long it took you to come up with that, but that feels totally miraculous to me that exists. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let me know in the comments how you got on with it. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.